we, when we talk about astrology, the yen chart, or the SideReal chart, is connected with the all. It is drawn to the heavens, and so we're using the spaces when the sun comes up at the spring equinox. We are now well into Pisces, because the spring equinox every 72 years clicks back one more degree. And so we have, over 2,500 years ago, when they gave us Western chart, because we didn't have computers to calculate this, so it was like, we're giving this to the masses so that they can have this, but now we can calculate that exactly and have the exact positions of where everything is in an instant. However, there is still so much earthly connection to that created system. And it is like the systems that have been created on this earth. And we can't, while we want to try to be as true to nature as possible, that it is a system that's here, and it's here to stay. It's not something that we can just dismantle, or even, no matter what we think about one way or the other, we really can't ignore the fact that in everything in nature, there is a dual nature to all things. And so that must also be true in things like astrology. And so to me, this has more occurred to me as a yen chart, and it is chaotic in that it does update, and it's not always going to begin on the same day. And it also is more nuanced. I love that certain seasons we have more time to do or express certain energies, instead of it just being like, no, you only get a month to really focus on that energy. Times like Virgo, when you're really, getting into all of the ways that you can apply the information that you have collected and scrutinized to then really put into some kind of meaningful service work, or how to care for your own vessel more. It's like we have more time in the season, almost 47 days, to go through Virgo energy, which just feels like, okay, good, because that is really important and necessary. And then you have signs like Scorpio, where it's only a 13-day transit. And it's like, do we really need to live in that death for so long? And I love that it's split with Ophiuchus, because then it really draws your attention to the fact that, yes, this death occurred, and now it is time to cocoon and heal, and to decide what you're going to do with the fact that this has just been taken away. And I love to have that awareness of the transition into the healing space, and the attention to the healing that it brings. So we're going to talk about our Pisces placements today. And Chris has multiple Pisces placements, his Sun, his Mercury, and his Venus. And I'm going to hear from Chris about how he finds those 3 planets show up for him in his, and how he expresses those as a Pisces individual. And I'm going to let him communicate that.
Yeah, let's see. So what was the first question? How do I show up as a Pisces?
And
how did
with your
up?
sun sign. So how do you find that your sun sign,
oh man,
how does being a Pisces sun show up for you?
I feel like I'm a Peter Pan, in a sense of growing up, but like the inner childlike nature of the Pisces, right? It's like nothing is not achieved, or everything's achievable. There's no limits and there's no boundaries. But to the saying of that with Mercury and Venus, like that is the gift and the curse of it all. It's like there's no limitations, there's no boundaries, there's no rules. But also in like the chaoticness of it all, like that's very feminine, and there's very much like there's nothing to keep you in a container. So it allows you to go to the limits in every degree, which I tend to do in like creativity, business, artist work. It's like it allows me to fully tap in, but the hardest part is coming back out, because sometimes I'll go down a rabbit hole to learn something, and then next thing you know, I'm stuck in that hole, and there's no good way to put it is like there's just no boundaries to anything. So you have to be very conscious of when to stop, when to turn around. It's kind of like being lost in space, right? Everything's dark, everything looks the same, but you have to have a really good awareness on where the present is, where the future is, and where the past is. Otherwise you get consumed by it. And it's like like I say, it's like a really cool space I can go into as an artist, and I can just like tap into the collective, and it allows me to really be, I don't want to say too futuristic, but very like there's themes of like Aquarius and Pisces that kind of mesh. And I think even with my moon in like Aquarius, it kind of like it meshes the two of like futuristic technology mixed with the spiritual. But then, like I said, like there's no boundaries in like love and communication and self. Like a lot of times, I have to be very aware of who I'm working with, what my own inner life is, and having a really strong knowledge of who I am. Because earlier in life, I'd get confused. I would be around somebody, and then I'd start like, oh, now I'm interested in that. And then like, oh, and then it hit this point where I was like, no, I'm not really interested in this stuff. But it was like that intuitive nature of just being able to embody everything and everyone around me without those boundaries and limitations. Like it's just like became very confusing at a point. And I think that was like the awakening of like, who am I and what am I here to do? And I almost had to like pull back from people because that ability to really be consumed by their energy and tap into it, it's like the only way to like find that true sense of self and understand what that was to pull away from people and sit kind of in the cocoon. It wasn't in the what is it called again?
Ophiuchus.
Ophiuchus. It wasn't like in the Ophiuchus cocoon, but it was like that wounded healer that sounds like Ophiuchus, of just like sitting in an energy and being alone to understand self, so that I could go recalibrate my knowingness to be around other people and like truly use those gifts.
Yeah, that Piscean ability to merge and to be so susceptible to whatever energy is poured into our vessel. Something that's been really fascinating to me, dealing with a lot of Aquarius people this year, is, where Aquarius is the water bearer, and they are an air energy. So to be able to remain separate from the water, where Pisces is that vessel of transmutation. They are the vessel that water is being poured into. And Aquarius is, of course, Pisces can love so much higher level, expansive information. So when you are in Aquarius energy, as we can be, it's just, taking in all of that flavor and being the transmuter of that, seeing how that feels and thinking differently about it, or changing that to love, to higher love, or all of those things. And the susceptibility to being in contact with an individual and being so excited about what they're talking about. But then when you are within your own energy by yourself, to really hone in on, what does it mean to be a Pisces in my life? Like if I take a month and I'm only by myself, what does my Piscean nature then do?
Yeah, but I think that's the greatest gift and curse. I'd say, what is a Pisces to you, anyways? Like, what is your Piscean's nature?
To explore all of the things.
I'd say the same, and it's like the even when I was getting to some degree, it's like that the Pisces is the bridge between the spiritual and the physical, right? And we can sit in the middle, but we can also be consumed on either end. And it's like sometimes when I'm sitting by myself and I'm with myself, it's like you go so deep within yourself that you forget to kind of like, or I at least forget to come out sometimes. And I'm like, so when I hermit or hibernate, I'm really reflective on myself and refining. But then it's almost like I get stuck in that energy because I'm like so used to it, and it's expansive. It never stops. But then it's like sometimes I feel like people have to pull me out because I'll just like get stuck in there, and then the opposite happens. I'll go to the external world and I'll be like, this is so much fun, and it keeps going, and then I'm like, okay, let's come back to self.
Yeah, it feels very much also free in that, where possibly maybe a past thought is to pick one lane and you stick with that one thing.
Yeah, singularity.
Where for me, that's never been the case. It has been an ever-evolving artistic process in my life.
No, that's a really good point. It's like the I forgot the word exactly, but it's the concept of singularity, right? And it's like, as a Pisces, we have this tendency to like, for instance, like being around so many people, we pick up different interests and we want to explore it and expand it. But then coming back to singularity of focus is a very good concept of like how to really excel forward in life. And as Pisces, we're kind of playing everywhere. But when you really put the energy into yourself, then you can have singularity of focus, because now it's like personal branding, right? I'm doing all these things. I do spirituality, I do creativity as an artist, I love business, I love marketing, I love branding. That's really hard to bring singularity of focus to. However, if I do it as a personal brand, now I'm expressing my interest through me, which brings singularity of focus back to all the
Mm.
interests. And I think that's like what I tried to convey earlier was the hardest thing of like, I have all these interests and loves, and I just don't know what it is or how do I express all this in one. And it was pulling it back to a personal brand.
Mm. So something that's interesting is Pisces is the sign of undoing the self.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, this speaks so much to kind of what you're saying. And it's like letting go of where you're not going and constantly being in that
Mm-hmm.
evolution space. And especially when you're working on yourself, it's like how much can you let go of who you thought you were?
Oh,
How
100%.
much can you peel this onion to be able to move in flow?
Mm-hmm.
And flow has been something else for me. I feel like the more I embrace that flow nature, then the more I get done
Oh,
and the less
100%.
frustrated I am.
Yeah.
And it's like, to circle back around, but also to pay attention to those signs. It's
Mm-hmm.
like you try, and then you're like, I gotta try another way. I mean, how
Yeah.
many times are you gonna try to go in one direction until you flow, and then you come back around and it works that time and it's fine.
Yeah.
So like to be in that chaotic energy, I was just recently thinking about, it's like surfing.
Oh, 100%. It's
You're like
like,
trying to control, you
yeah,
can't.
no, it's reality surfing, and it's no, you brought up a good point. The flow, the art of the flow is so important, and it's so hard to describe to people who don't understand it because everybody's systems and structures like what day and what time, and that is almost the hardest question for me because the flow, like I can't describe it, but I know when I'm there, and it's even like it makes it very hard to plan stuff because I
Mm.
most of the time when I create plans, whether it's a story or not, it seems like they get obliterated because like the flow takes over and then it's like why do I need to plan when I'm just in flow.
Mm.
And what else did you mentioned another good point there that I was going to expand on. What? I can't remember.
Surfing.
Yeah, no, it had to do with that. It had to do with the feminine flow. What else, what other point did you bring up there?
Chaos.
Chaos. Oh no, it's the understanding of self. It
Mm.
was the kind of like going with the divine flow of stuff and really I would say the art of my life, which is the gift and the curse of it all, has been the ability to stumble upon stuff very well. Like when I was in nursing, I remember as a nurse, I was sitting there at the station one day and I was like, I'm too creative for this. I need to own a business. Later that year, got out of nursing completely, started a business. And then, it's like I was like I don't know if I manifested it by speaking it or I was just becoming in tune and flow to it. And then, it's like, because it essentially just happened in a day. And it was like, I went from a nurse to an artist and didn't even know I was an artist or an entrepreneur. And I was like, okay, cool. But then even like something I just recently applied for, I was kind of like, it was really nice to reflect on it and be like, oh, how well I've been doing this for the last 5 years. Not even the last 5 years, but the last, 1 year. I just zeroed in and couldn't tell you what the energy was. But when I wanted to rest, I couldn't rest. I felt very called to do the stuff I was doing. And what I just applied for in adventure and travel, I was like, is there anybody better than me? Because I've just like literally followed my intuition in that flow so blindly that other people are like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I don't even know," but it made sense. And then to see, like have that process, and I reflect, and I was like, "Oh my god, I teed this up very well," and I
Mm.
couldn't have even planned this; it just happened.
Mm.
But I still had that discernment of like, am I going to follow this feeling or am I going to deflect it?
Mm. And then something that's fascinating that I try to play with, and I'm curious how you do this, because we can be called to so many different interests,
Mm-hmm.
and we also are in this flow, and possibly something we could be interested in at the beginning of the week, and
Oh yeah.
whatever, then we can change our minds. But how do you hold on to a sense of self when you are such a diverse being? How do you what do you qualify within your own chart? And we don't have to speak specifically to your chart, but within your own chart, how do you say, okay, but this is like what I'm holding on to as like where I'm going, or what I feel like I can achieve within my chart, if I, especially because I can be so many things. Like, what do you feel like is like, well, I want to say your
What
north node,
what
but
anchors it? I mean, it's more of a concept that I use, and I use this in like business, like myself, whether it's like for my personal brand, other brands, it's like building pyramids. Because no matter what, you have 3 points of focus, and then the center, all 3 points have to align with what's in the center. So, for instance, like I love adventure travel, I love branding and marketing, and I love helping others. So it's like those are the 3 focuses in a lot of the brands that I create, because no matter what, going back to like singularity of focus, I can incorporate all 3, but instead of being like, do you like to travel? Do you like this or that? It's like by being myself, I can just focus through it. And it's like whenever I build stuff, I just work on building those pyramids. Because then it gives you your 3 points, and if any point is weak, it'll collapse.
Does pyramids have to do with Saturn
Yeah, I don't
and
know.
Capricorn?
That's systems and structures, 100%.
Uh-huh.
Because it would be the and especially like no matter which way I look at my chart, if I don't have systems and structures in place, then I tend to go aloof, which we talked about earlier, right? It's like I just get lost. But it's also like too strict of systems and structures make me feel confined and restricted. So it's been trying to find that balance. For instance, like my schedule is probably unlike anybody else's. It's like I start my day and end my day with myself. Those are 2 very important things, because we can get lost in or we can lose ourselves in other people. So my 2 anchors, but then essentially I set up 3 flow states of creative work, business work, and networking. Because those are like, once again, back to the pyramid, those are the 3 anchors that I think every day, no matter if my energy is high or low, I can apply it to. And if, say for instance, I'm not feeling creative, then we can shift that out of the way and we can work in, business administration more and stuff. So it's like really just like playing with the system of like the Pisces wants the freedom. It wants to be everything and nothing all at once. But then the Capricorn's like, or the, what is that? Is that in Capricorn? Yeah, that's in Capricorn. So then the Capricorn's like, no. We need a time, we need a date, and we need a structure. So it's like, how do you blend those 2 together? Because both want to be honored, right?
And it's a duality.
Yeah, and I think that's the blessing in the Capricorn and or Saturn and Cap is like Cap is the only earth sign with its tail in the water. So it's like very grounded, but it has the emotional depth of Pisces, but it's also the only earth sign that has that water element to it. Whereas Virgo and Taurus are like, we're on the land and we need water to grow, but we're not very, emotionally mindseted. As Capricorn's like, we got the tail in the water, we're pulling the water up to the earth, but we're blending the structure and the emotions and everything together.
I love the water goat. It's a really powerful totem.
Yep.
Yeah. So I want to talk about your Venus and Mercury really quick. How do you feel like Mercury and Venus in Pisces, specifically Mercury, how does that show up for you, having your Mercury?
Oh man, it shows up every day in my ability to channel. Like half the time I don't know if I'm conversing or channeling, and even to the degree when I film YouTube videos or stuff like this on podcast, when I get to talking and in a flow, you could ask me afterwards and be like, what did you say there? And I'd be like, I have no idea. We'll have to go back to the recording. And I'll even do that in client work. I'll be, like working on something for marketing and branding, and I'll just come up with something out of the blue and say it. And they're like, wait, what did you say? And I have no idea. Like, and I've learned to almost record myself, because when I'm detached from what my ego wants to project and say is when the truest essence of my words come out. And kind of like the answer your broader question, having the Sun, Mercury, and Venus in Pisces, like the inner planets reflect a lot of who we are personally, and having a stellium in Pisces, like it's just that is like there's no plan. It's just like letting go of everything, of system, structure, and just allowing yourself to inevitably like stumble to where you're going next, because we're all guided, and it's like connecting to that is more of an anchor than following a path.
Okay, what about Venus?
Venus, I think it's just my love for everything. I think is the and I'd say in a broad sense, it's my love for everything and my curiosity and my interest, right? It's like I never know what I'm gonna like and what I'm gonna explore, but when I find it, I just go down a tunnel and I don't want to come back because I just want to engulf it. But then sometimes the end hits and I'm like, okay, let's go back, even though I want to learn more. And then more in relationships early, I'd say that was the difficult part of Venus, was not knowing self from others. So in understanding myself and having a stronger foundation of who I am and what my beliefs are, what my feelings are, I can essentially pull back, or I essentially identify self from others on basically like feelings and stuff too, because I think it allows me to feel myself and others, which was the most confusing part to understand. Of like, are those my feelings or are they theirs? Why do I feel this way only when I'm around that person? But
Yeah.
when I'm by myself and in not isolation, what's the other word? Solitude. And then I'm like, oh, that
Mm.
feeling's gone, and we're back to self.
Yeah.
So, and I'd say the other abundance comes through Venus. So I'd say the more spiritually aligned I am with stuff, the more abundance tends to flow into life.
Mm. Yeah.
And
One thing I want to talk about also is Neptune.
Neptune, yeah. What's my Neptune
You
in?
have a very interesting Neptune placement in your first house, and you have it in Sagittarius. So Neptune, the reason I'm talking about that is because Neptune is the planet ruler of
Mm-hmm.
Pisces. I like to call it like the rep. It's the rep.
The rep. What do you mean by that?
It's representing that zodiac's energy
Mm-hmm.
for us here in the solar system. It's
Mm-hmm.
the representative. So Neptune representing Pisces energy, you embody that in the first house.
Yeah, so I
What
just
do you
look
think
like a
about that?
Pisces, then, right?
Okay.
I'm the marketing and brander for Pisces. It's
Okay.
funny. I actually started a brand called Pisces, Pisea, a while back.
Really?
Yeah, it's something I put on the shelf that I'll circle back to, but it's a very, I think, a good representation of just everything that I embody in life. That I think like Neptune, and that's what I'd even say, like to the degree of the Sun, Venus, and Mercury in Pisces is like, with Neptune, it's like my first house is like I'm very symbolic for that. I represent it,
Yeah.
and even with Uranus conjunct there, it's
Mm-hmm.
like it's like so I have the ability, and this is 100% my life. It's the path I'm on. It's like it's cloudy and foggy. I got a flashlight, and I can only see my feet in the next step. I have
Mm.
no idea where I'm going, what's around the corner, or what to expect until I'm there. But I blindly follow the light and where I feel to move. And then with Uranus conjunct there, it's like, my path in nursing was very solidified and I was in grad school. And then one day I was like, we're getting out of this and we're going into content creation. And I was like, okay. But it's like the blindness there of Uranus just like will come in out of nowhere and redirect you.
Mm.
There's no planning with Uranus. And then to have it with Neptune conjunct, it's like I just blindly follow my intuition. I have no belief outside of what I'm feeling. And
Mm.
whenever we make a hard right or a hard left, I'm like, excited to see what's around the corner.
And I love your experience of that. It's like, so sometimes when I'm thinking about Neptune, I can get really um, caught up in the thought of the imagination,
Mm-hmm.
but then the possibility, because you are in a space of dreaming, creating, and
I say,
imagining, that it could be like a space of like not really knowing what's real.
yeah,
And
100%.
it's interesting for you to have that in your first house. So it's really fascinating to know how that shows up for you. Like, I mean, especially with planets being more like external energy,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, do you find any kind of illusions or things, like you said, the fog,
Uh,
but I guess what you were saying is that you just follow the light,
yeah, well,
and so that's
you
beautiful.
made a really good point there. It's like, or it's kind of like Einstein, what he used to do too, right? So
Mm.
Albert used to like fall asleep with a marble in his hand.
Pisces.
Yeah, 100%. So
Oh.
he used to fall asleep with a marble in his hand because right between being awake and asleep is the Pisces dream state. And the more you're able to tap into that, it's 100% what I'm talking about. It's like, it's kind of like being in plant medicine too. It's like, you don't know what's real and what isn't. It's foggy, it's not clear, but it makes complete sense when you're in it. And then when you come out of it, it's hard to integrate if you don't capture it too well. But then it's also like
Hmm.
in that space, you have no anchor or attachment to anything. You're willing to go anywhere and do anything because you trust everything because it's all based on feeling rather than, knowing and seeing.
Yeah, and the feeling of like undoing the self, because it's like we're trying to be
Mm-hmm.
untethered to this world. However, we're the fish swimming both ways. So it's like, we're here trying to, or enjoying the beauty of
Mm-hmm.
nature, the beauty of everything that is here for us, and really deeply appreciating that on
Mm-hmm.
such a level. And then, like you said, being in the other world of spirit and like longing to just be in that
Yeah.
oneness. And it I equally love being here and being there. And it
Mm-hmm.
is always both there at the
Yeah.
same time.
Yep.
I'm constantly in awe and in awe. And it's just
And I'd say when I'm in that dream state too, that's when I'm the most in tune, right? And it's like
So
it's
you have
the
Ophiuchus. You have Ophiuchus in your house of
yeah,
Pisces.
that makes sense.
So when you're talking about you being in the dream space and being really
Hmm.
expansive, you
But
especially are,
I'd,
yes.
I'd say when I journey too on like plant med, ayahuasca, anything, it's like I feel so at home in that space, and it's always funny to hear other people's stories and experiences because they're almost like triggered or traumatized sometimes or scared, and I'm like, I don't want to leave it because I feel at home.
Yeah.
And it's like that ability to really see it. It's a cool space too because it kind of like, and it might be the fucus placement. It's kind of like the ability to know stuff is there, but then under those influences and in those settings, you can see it. I can see it, and I can't see it outside of it, but I know it's there. And when I'm in it, I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is all real. I've seen all this, or I felt all this. Now I get to see it and experience with it.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
It is that veil that's lifted.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like even when we're not in that plant medicine space, we always sense that it's there.
Mm-hmm.
It's so tangible almost to us. And then with that plant medicine,
Mm-hmm.
it's just the veil is lifted.
And I would say I can tap into it too without plant medicine. The closest I can get is breath work.
Mm-hmm.
Really anchors into like the third eye clairvoyance. But outside of that, the time what I've really done, and I love this as a Pisces. Maybe you do this too, or maybe you can learn from it. Is the right when I wake up in the morning, I'm not trying to get out of bed. I'll actually lay there for an hour because I'm so tapped into the dream space. I use that as like my meditation time, but I also am, as soon as a message or something clicks, I come out of it and I write it down, or I like fill into it to see if there's any more, because it's so cool to have access to that and to also know about it, because it's like every day I have the potential to tap into that space, and it doesn't take much effort. It's as simple as like just anchoring between reality and sleep, and allowing myself to like just feel and understand what I'm witnessing.
And I hear that you have that structure,
Mm-hmm.
which even though sometimes, you can have a structure, it can be very simple, just
Mm-hmm.
this is what I'm going to do every morning.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do this. That's a structure that you built in order for you to be in flow.
Yep.
And I love that is having simple things that don't feel so constricting. Like
100%.
you don't have to get out of bed and then go get dressed and then go get on your pillow and surround yourself with crystals and get your cacao to do your meditation.
Yeah,
It's
my
simple.
Pisces would freak out. It'd be like, no, there's too many rules. And then like same with work, and even the degrees of work and stuff. It's like the model that I anchor in the most is 4 hours of work, like every day. And it's like, because I enjoy working, and it's like, but it's like I also have this tendency to not get out of work and I'll overwork. But it's like 4 hours a day, and how I can best use the 4 hours will change. Some days I'm shooting, some days I'm editing, some days I'm editing emails, some days I'm whatever. But there's no anchor to what I have to do at the exact time. It's just almost like, we're gonna work for 4 hours. What can we apply ourselves best to today?
Mm-hmm. I feel you on that 4 hours.
Yeah, because it's like at the end of the day, like, and there are times where I'll structure it more because I need to, but also like at the end of the day, it's like you said, it's like just, you don't need to have all these rules to do something. You just have to be consciously aware that you're doing it and create some kind of boundary, because otherwise you'll never come out of it.
I like lists, and I like to schedule things, and then have the freedom and grace to change it if it's not working, and it's okay.
Yeah,
and then be happy that it's going to work out better.
And it all goes through the theory of Parkinson's law, right? If you give yourself the space to complete something, the phenomenon of time allows you to complete it in the space.
Yeah. I've been really pushing myself to not rush.
Yeah.
Because it's been a really fascinating experiment. No matter how many things I have to do in a day, or I don't have to do in a day, if I don't rush and I just take my time with all of them, then everything gets done, and I always am on time. And I find that if I think I'm going to be late and I start to rush, that I will be late, or I will forget something, or I'll make a mistake or whatever. So it's been really fascinating, even days that I have a lot to do, and then here is a brand new bunch of things, that I wasn't even planning to do. And be like, I wonder if I can do all of this today if I don't rush, and I can.
I think that's the superpower of the sun in Pisces, I think.
It's amazing.
I have that same phenomenon of, and I noticed this too. One day I was like, just caught myself, and I'm like, why am I rushing? And it was just like out of the blue, I was just like caught awareness, and I was like, why am I in a rush to go into the gas station when I have nothing to do today? And then I started to sit with it, and I was like, and then I played it back, and I was like, I've rushed through everything. And then I was like, okay, well, let's have a moment, or let's go through a day where we don't rush. And it seemed like the longest, most stress-free day of my life. And I was like, how do we do this more?
Every day.
And it's the same phenomenon. I used to always think that I had to rush to get through all this stuff, but even on the days that I go slow, it all gets done. It's just like the amount of stress that was applied to the situation, I think.
And listening to your intuition,
mm-hmm.
because you can be, oh man, I need to rest actually for right now, and you rest for a time. That's something you have to do.
Yeah.
So you rest, but then you listen to your intuition that's telling you it's time to move on.
Mm-hmm.
Now we feel like doing this, and you listen.
Yeah. But you brought up a good point there too. Is like sometimes, I don't know if this is a martyring self-sabotaging, or if this is like my understanding of how I work very well, is like sometimes I'll push stuff off later, not in a sense of procrastination, just because I'm not intuitively in a channel that can help me solve it. But then as soon as the channel appears, I can get whatever that job is as done as soon as possible. And it's more of less like, and I want to say it's almost like human nature, right? Of like humans have instincts, but as Pisces, we have really strong instincts. And it's like the longer I push stuff off with a safe limit, the more instinctive I am with what I need to solve the problem to get through it. Rather than like, if I give myself 3 weeks to finish something, it'll take 3 weeks to finish it. But if I give myself 3 days, then those 3 days I'm locked in, I'm focused, and I've got access to everything instead of trying to guess and meander around it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You're never late.
Yeah, and it's not ever stressful. It's just like the ability to focus in and zero in and just have access to everything I need.
Well, and I also love the idea of planning big key things, that like big key projects around astrology, especially
100%.
for me with the moon. The moon, I feel like with me is very, I'm very connected to the moon. I find that I have a lot more motivation to do certain tasks within certain signs.
100%.
Like if I want to do some excellent communicating, like today, I would wait for a day when the moon is in Aquarius, and we would communicate on a day when the moon is in Aquarius, and that would be awesome.
100%. That's a really good point. It's like, because the moon, I don't know how quick does it change signs in SideReal? Is it every 2?
Well, it depends. Some signs it's only in one day.
But I think that's the astrology hack of them all. Is like literally like on days I want to do more stuff artistic and with music, moon in Pisces all day. When I want to work on communication, air sign, Gemini, Aquarius, like just allowing that to revolve, because it's like the moon's always going to be shifting, where the sun's like slower shifts. And then even with what did you mean? The moon. It's so funny you bring that up, because there's like Pisces has that moon element, right? So it's like in the tarot, it's the moon card. But then also, when you said that, I was like, no, I'm 100% the same way with the moon. It's like when the moon is new, I feel refreshed. And I'm a Pisces Sun, so then the moon resonates there. And then Life Path 11 and South Node in Cancer, which is also ruled by the moon. And it's like when the moon is at full, I'm at my peak. And it's not a sense of, but others are emotionally all over the place and erratic. I feel very centered and very powered or empowered. And then as soon as the moon goes out of full, I almost feel like my energy is just like drained. It's like the climax was hit, and now it's just like kind of just meandering until the next moon, kind of like diffusing the energy.
Yeah, because the full moon is like fruition, and then it is all down from that.
And it's almost like and even like not to go 100% like work focus, but even like in creative focus, work focus, every new moon I look at that as the next 30 days, and it's like I use singularity focus there as well as like, over the next 30 days, what is one big goal that I can apply, and then use the next 30 days, every 1 hour every day to go towards that goal.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it doesn't have to be in a box of like, what is it? It's just like, there's so many, like you even say, as the moon's going around, now I have the power to use each moon placement in that day or 2 days energy to apply to that main goal.
With that season's energy
and I'm saying
supporting us.
That's even like the art of being a Pisces, right? It's like it's all signs coming together and having that unique expression, but understanding that moon cycle to the sun is like you get the full power of what we came here to experience with. and then embodying that in the cycle of every lunar cycle.
Yeah. It's so powerful to realize the journey that we can go on every year, and to not put so much pressure on ourselves to do tasks with, exterior to that season. But if you do, then you have these supportive moon times within each season that bring that awareness back up for you to delve into within each season.
Journal.
Which is why I wrote my journal, SideReal Manifest. This journal, it has every key date, which is the changing of the seasons, and there are spaces for you to write information about what you want to bring into your life. So we have the yin page and a yang page, and they have keywords for each, so that you can really, like you said, plan for that season's energy. Then there are pages for your moon time. So whenever whenever the moon is in Pisces, this is our moon time. It's a really powerful time for you to be self-aware and to conserve your life force energy and many other practices that are in the journal, and then to write about how you experience that season. Because if you think about whenever right now we're in Aries season and the moon is getting ready to go into Pisces, so that will be our moon time starting tomorrow, and what we will experience during that time is our emotions being more aligned with that season's energy. So it's a very powerful time every season when you are more resonating with that season's energy and your own. It's almost like linking up and really being able to take action in that time. So there's a place in there to journal for that, and the new moon and the full moon, and then a space for you to explore your sidereal chart within that season.
Oh, wow.
And so the power of all of this awareness, and then the power of now and being present in the now and experiencing how that energy is showing up for you, and then to take inspired action or to decide what you want to do, and then to write it down and create some kind of structure, and then allow yourself to be in that flow space. But I love journals. I love lists.
Yeah, same here.
And then I like to flow.
Yeah, I don't know.
So it's like, okay, here's my journal. Now that part is done. It's all incorporated here. And then what happens, and I'll see what happens.
Even to the art of flow, like every time you mention a list, I'm like, that's the perfect anchor, right? Because it's like, it's kind of like the 4 hour, like you can do whatever you want in 4 hours, just get stuff done. And here's a list. It's like, how quick or how slow or how long do you want it to take?
Yeah.
It allows the structure but the freedom. Which really, I think that's the whole thing.
Yes, and that's the masculine and feminine. It's the flow and the structure.
I say, yeah, and that's like the two halves of Pisces, right? It's like you have the spiritual or space and the unknown, and then you have the physical. It's like, and honestly, they're the same. It's just one is structured, one isn't.
And something that's been occurring to me so much in exploring duality is, yes, of course, we're supposed to be here to explore all of those nuances of duality, but what keeps us on our path, or how do we explore darker topics or whatever those once thought to be taboo ways of expressing dark energy or light energy or whatever it is. And the truth of this realm is that everything in moderation. And are we checking our polarity is the real question. What is your motivation for doing this? Are you raising the vibration? Are you bringing freedom? Are you bringing love and ascension, or are you oppressing? Are you seeking to instill fear? So it's really like exploring all of those dualities, but keeping your polarity in check.
100%.
It's like not being afraid to do all of the things.
I think the polarity statement that I anchor into lately has been creating value with valuable people.
Oh yeah.
Because it's like you said, it's like no matter what, it's adding value, but it's co-creating and there's no shadow aspect to it, right? Because it's always creating more with others and building more connections.
Well, thank you for valuing this time and showing up to be here with me. And I really appreciate all of your insights on Pisces. I learned so much from you, and I appreciate you so much, especially that you're a Pisces brother, but that just makes us so much more connected in so many different ways that we've found. And I just thank you so much for your time and
welcome.
energy.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.